G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video. So this particular video today is not going to feature any race cars. It will feature racing however, but not race cars. We're going to have a couple of goes in a couple of different road cars in a couple of different race A's from a couple of different weeks. Ago. So this is a qualifying lap. This is the Camaro Z28. It was a new car in update 1.40, as is the next car you're going to see in a race time, but that is for then. But yeah, so there was a group of cars introduced as update 1.40. This is one of them, Camaro Z28, and we are at Maggiore, or one of the variations of Lago Maggiore track, the East variation. So this uses the first half of the track but then cuts back to the main straight at the second shortcut you will see shortly. So we don't continue on the long straight to the banked corner, we take a right-hand hairpin onto the main straight again. So you can see we have the S section, the turn 5 complex, and a little bit of the straight here. You can see we have these few corners here, you might recognise them, but you can see about halfway down this straight here, you can see the large arrows up on the left-hand side of the track, and we're going to brake at the 100 metre board, and we go through a hairpin now. So instead of continuing straight, we take a hairpin right and head down the hill towards the final straight. So this is where we join the track again. That's the final corner of the GP variation, but this is my qualifying lap for the race today, and it's going to be a 1:38.7. I did 7 laps of qualifying, and you saw them all on the right hand side of the screen there, but this really, I was only really going to do this race once anyway. But you can see a full grid of Camaro a full grid as in all the people on the grid are Z28s. You can see we've only got 10 players and some got DS players matched with A plus S, so that really goes to show the lack of people really doing race A. But it's a nice race to have one go of, and it can lead to some very interesting racing. As we launch off the line, only 4 gears in this car, so the first gear launch is not great, but once we sort of get higher up in the rev range, we get some good acceleration. See every car jerking as we change the gears into the first corner. I try to go around the outside of this guy, this Japanese player, and it leads to the inside for turn 2, and we get a little bit of contact there, just push him out of the way. Probably not the cleanest or best of moves, but I was well on the inside for at least turn 2, so I thought that was okay. And he only went down into 5th. Although actually he's right behind me, going to go up the inside, going through turn 4. Is he going to try and, he just runs me out? Yeah, he runs me right out, leaves me absolutely no room. As you can see, he was on the white lines, and that leads him to a 4-second penalty. So that was quite funny, for me anyway. So I'm not too worried about losing positions in this particular race, because it's only race A anyway. But of course, the 4-second penalty is absolutely going to murder your momentum, so once he serves the penalty, we're not going to see much of him. But we're going to come through the S's section now. It's very easy to go wide through turn 6 into turn 7, which leads to a bad line through turn 8 and therefore onto the straight. As we get on the power here, although a little bit wide through there, but ideally on the power there, and it's flat out right here to the final corner. So you really don't want to make a mistake going through that S's section, or at least, really, that starts out by going wide at turn 6. You can see that it would compromise your run all the way down to turn 11. This corner here as we exit out now, going on to lap 2. So my opinion on this variation of Maggiore, I actually don't really like it. I think it's very rather boring and plain. I prefer the banked corner. I think that's an amazing corner, and I actually don't mind the full circuit, the full GP loop, but I guess we haven't really seen much of the East variation, so I think it's fair that PD chose this particular track for this particular car anyway, as we haven't seen much of this track at all. But the Camaro Z28, it's a good little car. Of course, people have their opinions on it, being a rather low-end muscle car. There's a lot of sort of arguments about whether it's a pony car or all that sort of crap, but it's a muscle car, I think. It's fine. It's an American muscle car. American classic muscle car. Who can't love a good old Chevy? But we skip ahead to the final lap. Nothing really much happened. You see up ahead, someone loses it on the entry to turn 5 and ends up way on the outside with a penalty, and you can see I take it nice and tentative through turn 5 there, and he's got 10 seconds off penalties. That's one of the larger penalties I've ever seen. Actually, I haven't seen any penalties quite that large since I was at Tokyo Expressway in Group 4 with massively bad tyre wear in that Lamborghini Hurricane. It'll be linked up in the card if you want to have a look at that. But you can see he gets 10.5 seconds of penalties and finishes in the pit lane. So he was having a bit of fun there once he got his load of penalties. But you can just see, let's see how far he drops down. So he finishes with 11 seconds. This is when you cross the line, it rounds up to the nearest second. He's dropping down to 8th now. Oh, he's into 9th as the guy, Monkey Tunk G, finishes there. But let's see, I think he's safe from 10th. At least he didn't come last. Yeah, he'd be safe by now, as not really sure what UZ367 is doing. But it's a 3rd place at least, not too bad, could be worse. And I had quite a funny little incident being run out at this very corner, or at being run out through turn 4 after overtaking in the first couple of corners. But there we go, we went up 2 spots, started in 5th, and we have the number 4 on our car, so finishing above the number on your car means DR will go up, as there's a particular calculation the game does to give you your car number for a particular race. But that is it from that combination. We're going to move on to the second one now. I'll just flip over my paper here to get to the next track. You can see we're back at Goodwood, and we're in the Renault Clio V6. So this was also a car introduced within the same update as the Camaro Z28. I think it was race A from the previous week to the Camaro, I think, if I remember correctly. But we start out in 2nd place. So we're going to do actually a couple of races around here. The Clio was actually a car that was highly anticipated for the update. It was very welcomed into the game, and it's a very good little hot hatch. But let's see the opening lap here. It's going to go through turn 1 now. We've got someone almost looking up the inside, but I think we managed to just keep the position through here. Flat out through this part and through turn 3 now, we managed to keep 2nd place. So let's stick in the slipstream of Ching Susu, the Taiwanese player, ahead as we finish up, or start the race here at Goodwood. So we catch up a bit of ground going through Ford Water there, and probably not taking the best line on the leader's part at least. So we're going to go through St. Mary's Corner now. This is the left-hander of St. Mary's Corner, and we go a little bit wide through there, but not to worry. Oh, actually we do worry a little bit. We lose quite a bit of ground to the leader there, but that is really all that race was. The opening lap, once the leader sort of got that little bit of a gap, he just extended it lap by lap, and led me to a 2nd place by 6.3 seconds to the guy in 3rd, and 8 seconds off him in the lead. And that was with a qualifying lap of a low 121 or something. But, oh, actually, it might not be. Oh, we'll see in a second what that was. Oh, 120, yeah, it was a 129.4. But we're going to have a look at a qualifying lap now of Goodwood. So we'll go through a lap now. Turn 1, you just trail brake a little bit at the hay bale, turn in nice, take a nice wide line in and meet the turn 2 apex and miss the turn 3 apex. Go a little bit wide, but keep the foot in it, as we manage to get back on the track and we don't actually lose that much time from that particular little incident there coming on the exit of turn 3. Through Ford Water now, we managed to get through there nicely, and coming into St. Mary's Corner, take a nice wide line in, although St. Mary's Corner is actually the left-hander here, but that leads to a good line through that corner there. Keep on the power, use the dip, bring it right out. Levant Corner now, it's a double apex corner, brake, and you want to get a load of the car over this first apex and accelerate while you're at the apex, slide it out to the curb on the outside, and then bring it back through for the entry onto Levant Straight. So this is where a lot of time is gained through here in the lap on Levant Straight on the exit of Levant Corner. So let's see what this lap time is going to be. Coming through we're going to go through Woodcote Corner shortly. We brake in between the tarmac on the left and the 50-metre board, bring it round, slide it through, and then get a load of the car up on the 2nd curb, slide it out for the chicane now. So the chicane is really difficult. You really got to hug the walls and try and brake as little as possible. We get through there really good, actually. A very, very good rendition of the chicane there, and we cross the line with a 129.0. So that's actually quite a good lap. I'll take it. I think top 10 times are around 127, if I remember correctly. There might have been a 126 in there, but being a mainly 127, 128. So I'm going to take a 29.0, and you can see it puts me 4th on the grid in this particular instance. So the guy on pole, 127.7 is SS rated. He might have been in the top 10 times, actually, if I remember correctly. His name does look quite familiar. But let's see if we can have a better race this time around. So we're going to get a good launch, a little bit of traction control, but we managed to get the power down nicely. So the Renault Clio, it's a very good little car actually. It's very interesting in the fact that it's actually rear-engined, or mid-engined at least. So the engine is in the back of the car rather than the front. So it leads to very sort of different kind of handling. It also means it's rear-wheel drive, as it makes no sense to have an engine in the back and then running like rods up to the front wheels to have it drive. That doesn't make sense at all. So as far as hot hatches go, it's very good handling, rear-wheel drive, rear engine. It's got good, because it's got a rear engine, it's got good weight. No, there's not really much understeer in this car. If anything, you get a little bit of oversteer, but it hasn't got too much power, so you're not going to get too much of that anyway. But what we're going to get a lot of is second place being a complete idiot and binning it off on the outside of St. Mary's Corner. But that means we're in second place from 4th on the grid, so I'm quite happy with the return of that at the moment. But just going back to what I was saying about this Renault actually, it's weird in the fact that it was actually mass-produced. Like, it's not a one-off prototype or anything. It was a mass-produced motor car, a rear-engine hot hatch. It's just so interesting. A very good sort of builder's ethic and sort of stuff like that. We go through Woodcote Corner now. Let's see how much time we actually lose to the leader now. Get a little bit too much curb on the second part of Woodcote Corner. It just means we get a compromised run into the chicane, but it's not too bad as we get through there. Okay, a little bit wide on the exit. You don't want to take that much grass, but you do want to take a little bit, but it's okay. So we're 1.1 seconds behind the leader, and we're actually gaining time. So, but that didn't really mean anything, as by the end of the race, 6.6 seconds behind. So he was streaked ahead with a victory, and I've come home with the second place. Little spin across the line. But I'll take a second place here, starting in 4th, finishing in 2nd, only 6 seconds off the leader, who I do think he was in the top 10 times. He may not have been, but his name does look familiar. I have seen him somewhere before. But I did quite enjoy the way the Renault Clio felt around there, so we do come home with the second place. Had number 8 on our cards. We're going to get a quite substantial DR increase for that race there, and we're going to keep our S rating. But you can see my driver there celebrating a second place. But that is where I'm going to leave the video today. I do hope you enjoyed my sort of shorter little road car kind of video today. I hope it wasn't too boring for anyone. It did still have some interesting bits of racing in there, but of course I do still prefer Group 3 and 4. Actually, Group 2 is quite good. Do prefer the race car side of Gran Turismo Sport here, but I do thank you for getting this far into the video. It means a lot to me to know that people watch all the way to the end. Do let me know that you liked this video by hitting the like button. I do urge you to subscribe to see amazing videos from me each week in your subscription box. But that is where I'm going to leave the video today, and that means that is it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.